everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tara, and today I'm going to be talking about my cat Cotton. Not to be confused with the cat who is right here kind of driving me crazy. This is Sequin. Cotton is my white cat, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've definitely seen her before. So you've probably noticed my surroundings are a little different today. I'm filming up in my bedroom. My husband is working from home because of the whole COVID-19 situation that I'm getting real sick of hearing about. But he's downstairs in meetings talking, and I needed to film somewhere where there wouldn't be annoying noises in the background. And then this cat showed up. But anyway, let's get into it. So Cotton is a really wonderful cat, and I couldn't imagine not having her in our life. I'm going to tell you about how she came into our life, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So I used to volunteer at the Toronto Humane Society with the cats. I technically kind of still do. I'm sort of just on a mat leave from it right now. I stopped when I was 37 weeks pregnant with Cassidy, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm really looking forward to getting back into volunteering there. Anyway, I was volunteering. It was a September, end of kitten season, and I love kitten season. It's my favorite. Sequin, stop meowing. I apologize. Although it's fitting, I'm talking about a cat. Anyway, so yeah, I was there for a volunteer shift and I saw Cotton. Her name at the time was Gidget, which is a cute name, just didn't really go with my sewing related cat name theme I have going on. But I saw her and there was a hold tag on her cage. And they do that whenever a cat is been adopted and someone's going to be picking them up within 24 hours or within like whenever they are available to go home. So immediately I thought, yep, white cat, white kitten especially, definitely got adopted within seconds of being put out there. But later in the day, I kind of made a comment to one of the adoption staff about that, and she said, actually, this kitten is one of the ones we were going to be sending to an event. I think it was at a PetSmart, I'm not totally sure. But because this kitten had a heart murmur, there was a little bit of dispute about whether the place wanted to take her for their adoption event or not. I think it's because they don't want to have any unhealthy kittens. I don't know. But so there was sort of a back and forth, I guess, going on there. So I said to her, so if she's not technically adopted by anyone, would I be able to adopt her if I wanted to? Just asking. I wasn't planning on adopting a cat anytime soon, but figured I'd ask, because, I don't know, white kitten just seemed like an amazing opportunity. And she said, yeah, if you want her. And I was just like, oh crap, now I want her. So I called my husband, told him about her, and he reminded me that A, we were going to be going on our honeymoon in a few weeks at the time, and B, we had a really tricky move coming up because at the time, our last apartment building, it was a brand new build, we were told that our move-in date, and at the time this is what we believed, our move-in date was December 5th, but our move-out date at our previous apartment was end of November. So we were going to have to find accommodations for 5 days and somewhere to store all our stuff. So it was sort of like, I don't know if we want to bring a kitten to this mix right now. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. I'll think about it. So during my shift, I was visiting with other cats as per usual. And I just kept thinking, I want this kitten. I really want this kitten. But maybe I just want her because she's rare. White kittens are very rare. So I decided I'm going to go open up the cage and spend some time with this kitten and see if I feel anything. It sounds weird to say, but you do get chemistry with animals. That's my opinion, and I'm sure most animal lovers can believe that. There was actually a time I wanted this cat so badly when I first moved to Toronto before I adopted Bobbin. She was a 3-year-old cat, and I thought, I'm gonna go and meet this cat. I saw her online and I met her and I was just like, this cat isn't for me. You know, you do have chemistry with cats. It's not just, oh, it's cute, I want it. You should get to know any animal, not just cats. But I decided I'm just gonna go and see if I feel a connection with this kitten. And opened up the cage, brought her out onto my lap, and oh my god, my heart melted. And it did the same with you, Sequin, I promise. We already had Sequin at the time. Cotton is our youngest one. Anyway, I called Keegan and I said, come and meet this kitten, please. And he was like, you know, the second I meet this kitten, I'm probably gonna want it. And I was like, exactly. Come down, meet this kitten. Oh my god. Why are you so crazy? After Keegan said that he would come down, he basically said, you know what, go through with the adoption process, because it was sort of already decided. I felt something, I wanted this cat. So I went to the adoption office and kind of smiled at the lady I was talking to, and she's like, so you're gonna adopt this kitten? Yep I am. It's happening. I am impulse adopting during a volunteer shift. But I made it 2.5 years, I think it was, before that happened, of volunteering there. So I think I did good. Anyway, we didn't do the typical adoption process because A, I've adopted 2 cats from them previously, and B, they know I know what I'm doing. She just went over the disclaimer about Cotton's heart murmur. Basically, it was found at birth, so when a cat is born with a heart murmur and it came from the beginning, they're not super worried about it, but it could turn into heart issues later on. Since then, when we go to the vet with her, sometimes they hear it and sometimes they don't. But as of right now, it's still not an issue. It was definitely something they had to let us know about. The funny thing actually is the Toronto Humane Society brings animals in from other shelters all across Ontario, Canada, and the world. And she actually was brought in from my hometown, the Humane Society there. So it kind of worked out funny. It's like we're both from the same small town. It's kind of interesting. Like, what are the odds of that happening? Actually, when I was telling my family about this, they said that they had heard in the paper that their Humane Society was overrun with cats and kittens. Anyway, I went through, signed everything. Cassidy just woke up. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I don't really remember where I am. I'm just going to start talking and hopefully this all matches together. Alright, so I think I was at where Keegan came to visit her, or to meet her. So yeah, he came, met her, and was like, yep, alright, go pay for her, let's take her home. Unfortunately though, we couldn't take her home that day. She had had her spay surgery the day before, and because of the heart murmur, they just wanted to be extra cautious. Sorry, my phone just chimed. They wanted to keep her just for a couple extra days, just to make sure there were no complications from the surgery due to her heart murmur. I know when I adopted Bobbin, she actually had had the surgery the day before, and I was able to take her home that day. Normally, you can take the cat home like the next day, but in her situation, it was a little, let's wait. So the next couple days were weird because I've never done that before, where I've had to put a cat on hold and I couldn't come back within 24 hours and pick her up. I was having to wait. Just not knowing when you got to take her home, but I got the call. I was at work and I think it was a Wednesday. There was actually a volunteer corn roast that night scheduled and I was going to go to that after work, but because I got the call that I could take Cotton home, I was like, well, I'm skipping the corn roast. I'm just gonna go get her and bring her right home. Bringing her home was really exciting. The other 2 cats, Bobbin and Sequin, were not sure about her at first. There was lots of hissing, which happens a lot when you bring a cat into a place with another cat. We had her in her own little room for a little while. And boy, was she getting into stuff. And it had been a couple years since I had a kitten, and I remembered kittens are hard. So just putting that out there, people. Kittens, puppies, baby animals, lots of work. Lots and lots of work. So worth it though. But you just have to be really willing and prepared to do the work. Understand that things aren't going to be perfect. They're going to get into stuff. It's going to be stressful, but really, really fun. The first night, we kept her in the, what they call sanctuary room, which is what they recommend for animals when you first bring them home. She meowed so loud for the first little while that we left her in there. Like, I had never heard a cat meow this loud before, and I've met a ton of cats. I've met Siamese cats, and I have a tortie. And if you don't know, those are two very loud cats. But it was weird. Like, this was a very loud meow, but we didn't think too much of it. Went to bed, and then, went on with our life the next day. And after a few days, we started thinking, I don't think this cat can hear us. Like, we say her name or we make little rustling sounds, and she just doesn't seem like she's, getting, I don't even know what the word is, but like we're not grabbing her attention with any noise we make. And that actually reminds me another thing that was in the disclosure when she came to the Toronto Humane Society. She had ear mites. So I was thinking maybe there's some ear mite issue. I did, however, know that white cats have a genetic disposition to be deaf, but it's mostly cats that are white with blue eyes, which she had green eyes. So I thought, all right, well, she'll probably be able to hear then. Like, it's probably just the ear mites. We took her to the vet, and there was a bit of buildup in her ears, so he cleaned it out. And he told us there's a test to see if she's deaf, but there's really no point because an indoor cat doesn't need to hear. It's not really going to change anything whether we know 100% or not. And 2, just bang some pots and pans together when she's sleeping. If it doesn't wake her up, she's deaf. So that's what we did. And if I have the clip somewhere still, I'm going to include it right here. Yeah, so I did that. She's definitely deaf. And I thought, ooh, this will be interesting. I was worried about a lot of challenges coming up now, knowing that we have a deaf animal. And I had a deaf dog when I was little. He wasn't deaf to begin with, but as he got older, he lost his hearing. And it's funny, actually, when we brought him into the vet to check for his hearing, my parents brought me and Laura, my sister, and the dog in, and we were all standing at the reception desk. The vet snuck up behind us with this big, huge book and just dropped it on the ground. Scared the bejesus out of all of us. The dog did not flinch. And he goes, yep, he's deaf. He did actually take the dog in and examined his ears and stuff, and it was determined that he's deaf, but yeah, that was his test. So, I guess it's a vet thing. They know to just do that for an initial test. So anyway, we did know there were going to be challenges with a cat being deaf, but we didn't realize it's kind of a blessing in disguise too. There's so many wonderful things about the fact that she's deaf. And yeah, it would probably make her life easier if she could hear, but there's so many benefits to it as well, and it sounds really weird to say. Our biggest challenge, however, was if she got into things, you couldn't do the typical thing you do with most animals and just go, hey, stop it. She wouldn't hear that. And you can't get her attention just by calling her name. So you'd have to go up to her and physically grab her and stop her from doing the thing. So what I did was I started coming up with sign language for her. Not too many words, mainly the only thing is this, which is stop. So we would go up to her, I would stop her from doing something, and then I'd do this. And I did that over and over. We'd stop her, I'd do this. And it got to a point now where if you go up to her and you just do this, she'll stop. Most of the time. Basically, she knows what it means. That doesn't mean she always listens. Just like when you say stop to a cat who can hear, they don't always listen. Oh my gosh, this is the video that has had the most interruptions. It's ridiculous. I just had to go down and tell my husband to stop talking so loud. Anyway, let's get back to, I don't even know where I was. This is just a crazy video. Like the cat I'm discussing. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the benefits that there have been for her being deaf. So one thing, the biggest thing is she is fearless. Like, so fearless. And when you think about it, most of the things that scare cats are noises. Sudden loud noises, even non-sudden loud noises, high-pitched noises, anything like that. So yeah, like anytime they would test the fire alarm in our old buildings, all the cats would be freaking out, running, like, oh my god. And Cotton would just be sitting there like, what are you guys doing? What's happening? And if we had a lot of people over for a party or something, the other two would kind of just be in the other room, hiding under the bed. Like, oh, these people are so loud. And Cotton would just be right up there. She's socializing with everyone. And yeah, it's just been wonderful. Nothing scares her. Even when we first brought Pixel home, they were all very curious about her, but the second she barked for the first time, the other two were like, nope, bye, I'm out of here. Not dealing with that. And Cotton didn't hear it and just kept looking at her like, what is this creature? And even with Cassidy being home, her crying does not bother Cotton at all. And the other two just don't really want to be around it. And I actually once was talking to the receptionist at our veterinary office when we still lived in Toronto, and he was telling me he knew of a deaf dog, and whenever he would be taken in to be groomed, most dogs hate the hairdryer. This dog, because he couldn't hear this crazy loud noise, just enjoyed the warm breeze that was on him. And it's interesting to think that some disabilities can be a blessing in disguise, and it definitely was with Cotton. I know sometimes the dog can sneak up on her, and sometimes she doesn't hear us coming, and then if we wake her up suddenly it startles her. But for the most part, she is probably the happiest, most friendly cat I've ever dealt with, and I don't know how she'd be if she was a hearing cat, but it's definitely molded her personality into what it is today, which is great. We also used to let her go outside on a harness and a leash. I'm kind of an advocate for cats staying indoors, mainly because there's too many dangerous things out there, and I just don't believe cats should be outdoor cats any longer, because there are too many dangers out there. There are too many psychopaths. There are too many people who don't like cats, which are also psychopaths in my opinion. But anyway, I don't like cats being outdoors unsupervised, but I do think it's great to give them a chance to go outside, and going on a leash is a great way to do it. But not every cat likes that idea, and don't force it on a cat if they aren't up for it. I knew with how much energy Cotton had and her fearlessness, she would enjoy being outside, and she really did. We lived on a first floor apartment, and we had our patio, so we'd bring her outside on the patio, attach the leash to the fence, and she'd kind of wander out of the fence and wander in the garden that the building had there, and she'd just sit there and watch the world go by, you know. Cars driving by wouldn't scare her, people walking by didn't scare her. Cotton is definitely one of the most unique cats I've ever had in my life. She has a really fun personality. She loves being involved in pretty much anything, and the way she reacts to things is very different. One thing too, because she's deaf, she can't hear how loud she is, and as I mentioned, that loud meow before. She has this really loud meow that she does. We don't understand why she does it. Sometimes it's almost like she gets lost and then calls out for attention. But this meow is so loud. And she also has the loudest purr, which is so sweet. And if she's like cuddling up to you, that purr is the most therapeutic thing in the world. Like, I could just sit and pass out to that purr. It's so sweet. Another thing she loves to do is to lick your hands. She's kind of like a dog. If you try petting her, she needs to lick your fingers a little bit. and it's really cute. Basically, my whole point in this vlog, and in the blog too, I wrote a blog about this and I will leave the link in the description. I don't want anyone to ever overlook any animal that has a disability or something different about them. They're special, they're wonderful, and I couldn't imagine my life without Cotton. And if something were to happen to cause a disability with any of my other animals, I would not. I don't want to say I wouldn't care. Basically, if any of my other animals got a disability of some sort, if something happened to them, it wouldn't matter to me one bit. We would deal with the challenges and celebrate the uniqueness. And on that note, I'm gonna go see if I can find Cotton. And here is Cotton. She's not too happy, I just picked her up. Basically, everyone who meets her loves her. She's a wonderful cat. I do talk to her. It's just a habit, and you know, I'm never gonna stop even though I know she can't hear me. But it's funny when people come over and they try talking to her and I'm just like, yeah guys, you remember she's deaf, right? Anyway, that's it for me for today. Bye for now guys, and I'll see you next week. Challenge, however, was... You done? Cassidy, stop it! I gotta close that door because Keegan's being loud. I really wasn't expecting when we... Oh my god. In her face. Oh my god, Sequin. This cat and now this baby. Oh my god, this video.